Right. Well, today, come out to make a little video on just being out in the forest, enjoying the peace and quiet. Going to have a campfire for no other reason other than I can. I've put up a shelter because I have a feeling that we're going to get some rain later. It is in the forecast, so we shall see what we get. Now, I did fill up. This here is a collapsible water bucket. Anybody that doesn't have one of these, anybody that goes camping and what have you, one of these collapsible water buckets, absolute godsend, because this thing, it holds about 20 litres. It's just a simple folding bucket. It's very strong. Literally, I've had this thing about 3/4 full. It says 20 litres. I find that if I'm carrying it and the water's up to about here, that's about as much as you want to put in it. I've got it upside down here on the moment. I've put my water out of there into that bucket. So that's how much I got in there. So as you can see, there's a fair amount there. Now, as I've mentioned in many of my videos before, the most important thing before you light a fire is to know how you're going to put that fire out. So I have water here. I have plenty of water, more than enough water to put this fire out. I'll come out here today. Bugs off. There you go. But, mosquitoes are still around, so I'm going to get this fire going and help get rid of the mosquitoes. Now, the other day I watched a video and the guy had a fire lighting kit and a big lighter. Well, in this kind of climate, yeah, it'll work. But when it gets to winter around here, this kind of lighter is not going to work. It's not going to work at all. In -10 and below, forget it. It's just not going to work unless you have it in an inside pocket. But as soon as you bring it out and it starts to get cold, these things don't work very well in the cold. A ferro rod, however, works year round. Doesn't matter, it could be -50, that thing will still throw sparks. In here I have cotton balls, my favourite cotton balls and Vaseline. Best way I've ever found to light a fire. It is prime bear season, which is why I have normally I just have my bear spray up in my pack. I've hung my pack up off the ground there because there's all kinds of bugs and that on the ground. But I leave pegs sticking out of the tree. They make really good little coat hangers and what have you, so that's good. So I've got all my gear up off the ground. I have somewhere to get under should it start raining. This bench I can just move. So without further ado, let's get this fire going. Right, so in here I have a cotton ball. If I can get a spark to land on top of it, we will be good. Yep, and there we go. As I've said in many of my other videos, make sure whenever you finish with your gear, make sure you put it away. So everything's in here. This is nice and waterproof. As soon as I've got some of these little sticks on here, I will stick that back in my pack. Now I do have some small sticks. It's very tempting to just go dump that on the top of the fire. Don't. Yeah, it's never a good plan. Just lay a few on here. Just let that heat start to work its magic. Those cotton balls actually burn for a long time, so. Once we, the other advantage, of course, is this stuff. If you look at it, it's got that moss on it. Right? This stuff burns really well. It's a little damp out here today, but not a lot. Now, we've got rain in the forecast for later, so the temptation is just to dump all your little bits on the top. Don't. Just let them loosely sit like this. That fire will get down in there. Now, I've done a lazy fire today. There's a few bits of carbon from the previous fire. I have some logs in the bottom, some big stuff, smaller stuff in the middle, and then obviously the little stuff on top. This is what people call it upside down fire, they pyramid fire, whatever they want to call it. They can call it whatever they want. But it's as a general rule, I call this a lazy fire because now I can just sprinkle those on the top. Job done. I can go and do all the other stuff that I need to do now. Put all this stuff away. I don't have to worry about it. That fire will take care of itself now. there without squashing anything. Good, good. I leave little pegs sticking out of the trees like this, just make nice little hooks. As I always say, before you light a fire, know how you're going to put that fire out. See, that fire's going. Like now, if I was setting up camp, if I was putting up tent and all that kind of good stuff, I can just set that up now. I don't have to worry about anything. I can just set it up, let it do its thing. It's flaring up at the moment because it's got a lot of that little stuff in there. I don't want big tall flames. You'll notice around here on these trees, all the ladder fuel on the bottom of the trees, all the little sticks and stuff. When I first came here and started camping here, this was actually quite thick with that ladder fuel, all this dead brush up the trees. So what I do is, over time, if you camp in an area over time, you'll find that you clear out a lot of that stuff real fast, which is good. It lets air into the forest, lets light into the forest, lets it all green up, less chance of fire risk because you've removed a lot of that. We get dry grass season, so if you get a grass fire come through somewhere like this, if there's lots of those low down dead branches, it'll run up the trees real fast, and then you've got a canopy fire, and a canopy fire is completely different than a grass fire. So I don't need too much extra heat in there at the moment. I'm just going to let that do its thing. I did bring, I remember to bring my fork with me today, because I do have some food, which I'm going to cook up later. Nothing exciting, just my usual sausage rolls. Yeah, we will let that, a bit of pine tar in there, I can see a bit of smoke coming off it. So we will let that do its thing. Let that settle down in there now. I don't need a huge amount of fuel on there, and get back in a bit. I'm just going to cut up some medium-sized pieces. Now here, this is my sawhorse. I've got a stick tied to a tree, the other end's banged in the ground. So I need to cut up some bits. I can cut up little bits like this. That I will cut up later. I just need some smaller pieces just for this. So what you do is you put your stick in the ground and you put it just gives you an extra pair of hands. Yeah. Later I'll cut this up for firewood. I just need some medium-sized pieces for now. Let's put some medium-sized bits on there. So this is still wet. So what I do, I mean, yeah, I could cut it to size, but if I lay it through here like this, it'll burn out the middle. It preheats the wood, and that piece isn't too bad. But it's still fairly green. It's like, you know, still flexible. So, but we'll put those on there. We'll let them do their thing. And it's preheating the wood. So once it's burnt through, I can just kick the ends in. Job done. Alright. I'll do some more in a bit. Other than that, I'm just going to have a drink of water, sit down, have a rest, and keep an eye on the fire until it's well and truly underway. Now, to light a fire, I saw somebody the other day saying, you know, they had a fire going within 20 minutes, half an hour. This time of the year, yeah, you can lollygag around it a little bit. If I haven't got a fire going in 10 minutes, then that's pretty unusual. But he was saying like 20 minutes, half an hour. Now, if it's minus 30 and you need a fire, you need to be able to get a fire going literally maybe 1 to 5 minutes tops. Because in minus 30, you need heat. This fire. The deer just ran off up through the forest over there. Right. So this fire in minus 30, that's enough to get a fire going. Just right up here. That's enough to get a fire going. That's not a fire that's going to keep you warm for very long, not in minus 30. But it gives you a start. It gives you a source of heat. And the only thing that will keep you alive in minus 30 if you're really cold is heat. I'm just going to let this do its thing. Go down in there a bit. fire's been running for about 20 minutes, half an hour now, I guess. Haven't really had to do much to it, just put a few little bits in the top there every now and again. But as pieces settle in, you just kind of move the ends in. But that's the good thing. See, if you've got a little bit of wood that's a tad wet, just burn the middle out of it, because that wood's already heated up. Wood has to get up to about 250 degrees, and then it burns nice. But that's why I like this kind of fire, because I can just set fire to it, don't have to mess with it. If you build a teepee fire, you're forever putting wood on it. You know, you start with the little bits of wood and you build it up and up and up and up, but you're forever having to do something to it. If you do this kind of fire, lazy fire as I call it, teepee fire is hard work. Lazy fire, just lay them all on like this, bigger stuff in the bottom. The advantage of having the big stuff in the bottom as well, I mean, this is okay out here at the moment. I mean, the ground's wet. I'm not too worried about this. This is all kind of wet. But if the ground was soaked and you had to try and light a fire, it's in ideal conditions you can get a fire going fairly easy. If it's absolutely soaking wet conditions, you need that fire up off the ground, because as you light the fire, it's going to dry all that out, and all that moisture is going to come up through the fire, and it'll actually cool your fire. So that's actually difficult. I'm sitting in the smoke at the moment deliberately, just because of the mosquitoes. Yeah, this is nature's mosquito repellent. This is, let me tell you, they hate smoke. This whole area was buzzing with mosquitoes when I came in. Now I've got a fire going, I can't hear any. It's great. So one of the important things to do is every now and again I take some of this Spanish moss stuff and stick it on there, or old man's beard, whatever you want to call it. I call it ladder fuel. Stick that on there and it smokes up pretty good. And that gets rid of the bugs. You see, this is what the fire does. It just sits there and all those embers settle down in the bottom. I don't have to mess around. I'm not forever collecting firewood and sticking it on there. So if it is a really cold situation and it's damp, you've got the big stuff in the bottom. All the embers are falling down onto the big stuff. It's heating that big stuff in the bottom, which is important. It's preheating it. And once that big stuff starts going, you've got a decent fire. Now, this is summer fire. This is easy summer fire. If this was winter, I would need big logs and logs about this long. So this is ideal for summer. This is not a place that let me just move around there a bit. This is not a place that I tend to winter camp, simply because it's a bit of a walk out here, I can tell you. It's a bit of a walk to get out here, and in minus bloody cold, that's a long walk. And the amount of fuel that I need for an overnight winter fire, there isn't, unless I start cutting down standing dead trees, and I really don't like to do that. When I'll clear up wood like this stuff that's down, and I'll burn it. You know, it's this round, it's fine, it's burnt. Now if it was winter, I'd need bigger stuff, and then I'd have to start cutting some of these standing dead, and I don't like to do that, because just for the sake of an overnight fire, it's these standing dead trees here, they're full of bugs. And that's bug hotels. That's where a lot of insects and that live in there. So yeah, beneficial for the forest if I had to do it. If it was like seriously cold and I needed a fire, yeah, trust me, those trees are coming down. I can have those down and cut up into firewood and get a good fire going in very quickly. Most people know that I'm a huge fan of the silky saws. Love these things. I've been doing a lot of trail clearing. Most of this summer actually I've been clearing deadfall off some trails. I've done a whole bunch. If you look at my other videos there, you'll see I've done a whole bunch of trail clearing this summer, and the majority of it is done with this. I do have the 500. I've got the Silky 500. There is a 650. There's a really huge one, the 1 meter one. But it's I would say for 99% of what I do, this is absolutely perfect. You know, because it'll handle decent sized wood. These two logs under here, for that, I cut out with these. So they're what, 8-inch, good 8-inch logs. I cut those with this, so that's, you know, you can cut decent wood. The only thing I would say is my 500 with a bigger teeth, like for cutting the bigger logs, oh, that thing's just, it cuts like butter. Those two saws are completely different. This has smaller teeth. The 500 obviously got much bigger teeth. A longer blade is about yay big, but for cutting the big trees, the 500 is a really nice saw. Oh, it just whips through those things like crazy. But for, like I say, for 99% of what I do, this is absolutely perfect. I don't need anything bigger than this. This is perfect. You can get the smaller ones, the Gomboys and what have you, for you can just put in your pack. But for what this weighs, it don't weigh much. I don't know what it actually weighs, but I can tell you it's not much. It folds up nice. That fits in your pack. You know, it's real small really. Fits in your pack, but it has the ability to build you a decent shelter, and it does literally everything I've never had any trouble with. I have a spare blade in there. As anybody that knows my videos will know that I only ever broke one blade, and that was entirely my fault. It wasn't a fault with the blade itself, that was my fault. Yeah, I was very tired and I was cutting the tree and I kind of leant forward and snap, I heard a little dink, and that was the end of that. So I did buy a spare blade, which I've now put on. The blade that was in there, I've still got in my pack up there, but I've now put that blade on. But it's for cutting upward and what have you, that's everything that I need. I've just noticed that one there is a very nice end, so we will get those ends around in there. So this is the thing, I've dried out I've burnt out the middle of some of these, so I can just move those bits in. That one there I can move in. Oh, I know you want to be in there. There we go. Yeah, job done. Yeah. This fire now is totally self-sustaining. All I've got to do is chuck a bit of wood on there every now and again. Job done. I'm going to let that die down a little bit. Going to get a nice big bed of embers in there, and then I'm going to heat me up some food. But, look at that little bit of smoke. Oh, that's good. Gets rid of those mosquitoes. Yay! Right, I'm going to show you this method I use for cutting up wood. Sharpen the stick, hang it in the ground, put it tight to the tree with a little bit of paracord there. You can lay your wood on there, you can put your food on it. So you can give that a really good, you know, you're holding it really good. Much easier than that, eh? Next lot of firewood, ready to go. It's real easy, so you can process a lot of wood very quickly. I see people doing all kinds of crazy things, putting logs behind the knees and all that other kind of good stuff. Looks good in a bushcraft video, but I can tell you now, in the real world, never a good idea. Right, just going to move that over a bit, just to get that out the smoke there a touch. There we go, let's get that out the smoke there. There we go. Yeah, that's good. Move some of these ends in. You have to be a little bit careful picking up some of these logs. My hands are a bit like concrete, so I don't tend to feel it so much. But when you've been burning some of this wood that's a bit, see the pine tar? Yeah, you gotta be careful picking up some of them, because that pine tar can get hot and it'll stick to your fingers. And I can tell you now, it burns, and it's not pleasant. I'm just gonna move some of these ends in. Let that do its thing. More wood cut up there, ready to go. See, it took me what, matter of seconds just to cut up the next lot of plywood. That there is another 20 minutes, half hour's worth of plywood cut in what, a matter of moments. Yeah. Ooh, smoky, smoky. Right. I will let that do its thing. And I will get back to you in a moment. Right. Oh, that's better. So, some of you may be wondering, why did you come out into the middle of nowhere with a campfire today? And the entire reason is because I can come out in the middle of nowhere and have a campfire. Now, when you're looking after a campfire, you've got to focus on that fire all the time. You can't just light that fire and go off and do whatever you want to do. Once you light that fire, you're responsible for that fire. Whatever it does, you're responsible for it. But, and it's also a good, it's a peace of mind thing. Yeah. People quite often ask me, why do I do this? Well, I can come out here, sit here, have a nice campfire, hopefully not too much smoke in my face, and just enjoy the day. I bought some food with me. I'm going to cook that up later. Have some nice hot food. I've got snacks. I've got my oranges. Anybody who knows me knows I like oranges. I've got oranges with me. No grapefruit at the moment because grapefruit aren't on sale, but oranges are. So I've got oranges at the moment. But I do like my citrus, and I come out and do these things because I can. It's a good peace of mind thing. I've been doing a lot of trail clearing. I've been clearing out hundreds of trees. I don't know how many trees dead fall I've cut off of trails this last summer. But, that's pretty much what I've been doing all summer. Pretty much every weekend and every day I can. I've been out there clearing dead fall off of trails. There's not too far south of here, there's an area that doesn't get a lot of attention for trail maintenance. Not a lot of people go up through there and what have you, and a lot of the trails end up very, very neglected. But just walk through there every now and again, clear a bunch off, makes it nice. It keeps the trails walkable. Anybody that watches my videos, please watch the other videos, you will see what I mean. The amount of deadfall is actually huge. These trails around here, there's trails all the way around here. There's a whole bunch of trails down that way that I look after. There's a big trail up over that way. That's the part of the Trans-Canada Trail is way over that way. Oh dear, excuse me. More than smoke, go around. Yeah. The smoke is nice for the mosquitoes, but it's not nice when it gets in your eyes. Yeah. Yeah, right, as I was saying. Way down over there in the next valley, there's a trail, it's part of the Trans-Canada Trail, and I look after that. There's about a 40-kilometre section of that I look after regularly every year. I walk it 2 or 3 times a year and clear all the deadfall off of that one. But that's not a bad thing. I saw something the other day on, I think it was on Facebook or something like that, and some group was looking to raise money for helping look after the Trans-Canada Trail. Well, I've been looking after that trail actually before I even knew it was a Trans-Canada Trail. But I've been doing that for the best part of 30 years now, and nobody pays me for it, so I do it because it needs to be done. And if everybody looks after a little bit of the trails, the local trail network and what have you, when things get overgrown, I mean, you don't have to go around with a saw cutting up deadfall. If you've got your little nippers with you and you've got that alder, grows so fast, you'll know that I don't particularly like alder because it grows so damn fast. But I'll take my little nippers with me. I've got these little Fiskars nippers, and I'll take those with me and just cut the stuff back off the trail. If everybody does a little bit as they walk in the trails, it keeps the trails really nice. It really does make a difference. You may not think it does, but that little bit that everybody does makes a difference. So hats off to all the people out there that do, sorry, hang on, let's do this right. So hats off to all the people out there that do this. Oh, that's nice and cool. Ooh, that hat is nice and cool. Oh yeah, I'll take that. On a hot day, this hat's got that waxy material. On a hot day, you wouldn't think it would help, but it really does. It really does make a difference. Yeah. Everybody looks after a little bit of trail to keep the trails nice. And that's what it's all about. It keeps the trails walkable, keeps them well marked, people can see other shoe prints and stuff like that, so they know they're on the right trail. So just little bits. I spend a lot of my, most of this summer actually, I've spent days and days and days literally, and that's all I haven't gone out hiking, I've just been out trail clearing, but that's what I've done. Hopefully it makes a difference. One particular trail I must have cleared, oh my god, I'm going to estimate somewhere between 100 and 150 trees, dead fall trees off of that trail. Biggest one probably was about yay round, rest of them was smaller trees. So it doesn't, there's a lot of this size stuff, a lot of it, hundreds of it actually. It doesn't take long, just cut a few of these off the trail, and it keeps it nice, keeps everything walkable. Oh. Watch that one, that's got pine tar on the bottom. Yeah. Look, I was just saying, that pine tar will actually stick to your fingers, see, and it gets hot. Watch that stuff. That's some good heat in there now. Just going to let that do its thing. And go fine. I have a food bag now with food, and you'll know that I'm very much into this kind of thing. Make sure you put your food in sealed bags. If I was camping here, my food would be up a tree. I have a tree up over there that if I'm camping in this spot, I put my food up that tree over there. Stick that up there. Right. One of my favourite foods to bring with me, as anybody that knows me will know, are sausage rolls. And the reason for that is they got meat in there, there's fats in there, there's pastry, whatever goodness is in the pastry, I've no idea. But you can eat them hot or cold, they're already cooked. So that is a really good source of food in a very small package, and it gives you a real boost, I can tell you. So what I need to do now, just put that there for a while. So what you do, like I've just done there, I've got my little toasty fork, I've got my foot on the end of it. Just remember, if you stand up, your food falls in the fire, so just be really careful. That's a good hot fire now. That'll warm this up in no time actually. I can already see it starting to get a bit warm. So you can put your foot on it, like I was doing there, just to hold it. But I think this is going to burn real fast if I'm not careful. I need to heat that through. Like I say, I like these things because you can eat them cold. Hot, cold, doesn't matter. Yeah. Give you a good boost of energy, that I can tell you. Bugs, dog bugs. Boy, that's a good hot fry for food. And I see people doing videos and they bring out all these big steaks and onions and what I call the outdoor cooking shows. They bring along this great big skillet and they got steaks this big, look like dinosaur burgers and all the rest of it. I guess that fits the Tim the Tall Man Taylor kind of outdoor kind of crap, if you like. But generally speaking, anybody that's out and about just doing this for the sake of doing it doesn't bring all that stuff. They don't bring a frying pan and bloody sausages and all that other crap I see people doing. You just don't really do that in real life. That's done for show. That's done for making a video. Nobody carries all that crap with them. Yeah. If you're going out in the middle of nowhere now, if you've got a wagon, or if you've got a horse or whatever, you're doing a horse camp, yeah, you can take all that stuff with you, and then it makes sense. But if you're carrying that stuff, you're not going to carry a bloody great cast iron pan. Yes, it looks great in the video, but in reality, you're not going to do it. Yeah. She's hot. But that's what I like. See, I've now got some hot food. That is really hot. Oh yeah. Oh my god. That is so good. But that's how long it takes. It does not take long at all just to heat up the food. I'm not chopping onions. I didn't bring my little chopping board, chopping up onions and slicing tomatoes and all this other stuff you see people doing. Like I say, I call those outdoor cooking shows. That's not bushcraft. That's outdoor cooking shows. That's just a, what do you call it? More like a clickbait video. Hey, look at me, I'm cooking all these onions and stuff. You start cooking onions out here. Now, we all love the smell of cooking onions or bacon. Bacon's even worse. You start cooking that stuff out here, every bit of wildlife for 10 kilometers around here is going to go, oh, onions, bacon. That smell is a really strong attractant. Now, I've just cooked this, just heated it up, but it's not a strong smell. Yeah. But if you start cooking onions and bacon, that smell will drift right through the forest, and everything's going to go, yeah, that smells like food. So you're going to start attracting stuff, and that's never a good idea. The idea of being out here, there's bears out here, there's grizzly bears about 10 kilometers that way. In my video that I did the other week, that's where that bear was huffing at me, and I'm pretty sure that was a grizzly bear, because the lady that was planting trees down that way, she said to me that they'd seen a grizzly in that area a couple of days before. And I could see the bear in the trees, but I'm not going to stand there and stare at it, because you never want to do that. But I could see it in the trees, but I couldn't see whether it was just a big black bear or a grizzly bear. I couldn't see it because it was in the tree line. But I could see it, and I could hear it huffing and chomping its jaws, and it starts that foot stomping thing. So I think it had got a kill in there. It probably got a carcass in there of some description, and it was very clearly telling me to go. I went away. I'm not going to hang around there. If you're cooking stuff, you're going to attract that kind of wildlife, and that's an attention you don't want. Yeah. Right, I'm going to move all this stuff in, enjoy my food, and I'll get back to you in a bit. Right, well, I've just put a bit of wood in there, as you can hear. It's got a bit of pine tar in it. That's where all that crackling is. Yeah. That stuff's a bugger. Yeah. Yeah, one of those logs that I cut up had a lot of that tar in it. Yeah. It's good though. I just found a piece over there that had a lot of like fat wood in it, the resin. I put that in there. That's all crackly and good in there. That stuff generates a lot of heat, burns good. Yeah. But you've got to watch it though. If you get that stuff on your hands, it's not good. That is a good hot fire in there now. So what I'm going to do is let that burn down. I'm trying to consume up some of the, when I was here last time, a lot of the coals in the bottom, they didn't get burnt right through. I like to leave it so it's basically just almost ash in the bottom. It's very difficult to do that. But I like to get it down to almost completely ash before I go. I'm going to be here for a good while yet. The sun's only over there, so we'll leave here when it's about over there. That's, what, 6 hours. People say, what are you going to do, sitting in the forest for 6 hours? And my answer to that is absolutely nothing. Yeah, not going to do anything. I'm not going to be sitting here with a knife whipped in a bowl, or making knives and forks and all those other things that people do in their videos. There's plenty of really good videos out there of people doing that stuff. But today's video is an unwinding in the mountains. This summer I've been working in the mountains. Every weekend I'm out there clearing trails and fixing stuff and fences and bridges and Christ knows what. However, sometimes it's just nice to come out to the mountains and do nothing. And the best way to do nothing is to give yourself something to do, which is looking after the fire. So my job for the next half a day is tending the fire. that is it. I have some more food in my pack. And, I shall eat some of that in a bit. And, later on, when the sun's up around, probably there somewhere, midday-ish, then I will have my orange. Yeah, I really do like my oranges. And then I can go from there. I can see that pine tar oozing out of a log down there. I can't pull it out the fire and show you very easily because that stuff's dangerous. But it just oozes out of the log, but it burns good. That holds that heat. Oh, there we go. That's not good. So we'll get that one back up on the top there. Big one just rolled out of there. Now I've knocked half my bricks out. Before you pick anything up, make sure it's cold. I was watching a thing the other day. These rocks in here have all been exposed to fire many times and they're pretty dry. I was watching a thing and the guy said, oh yeah, make sure you use river rock. Well, rock that's been in the water is literally soaked full of water. You start heating that stuff. I mean, these are fairly dry, these rocks. I've been using these for probably what, a couple of years now, 2-3 years now, and they're pretty much dried out. There's a lot of moisture in there. It's you take rocks out of a river, yeah, you might find some decent rocks, and you think, yeah, I'll build a nice fire ring out of that. You start heating that stuff, that can get dangerous fast. Yeah. But if you've ever been next to a rock that splits and cracks and explodes, that crap just flies everywhere. It's literally just shrapnel, and it's instant. I mean, if that hit you in the face or hit you in the eye, and you're out in the middle of nowhere, for me to walk back from here to where I need to go is about. If I really got it into gear, it would take me about an hour and a bit to walk out of here. Like if I put my pack on and I just set my mind and just went for it, it would take me about that. Because it's a long way that way. But as an amble, it usually takes me about an hour and a half to get out of here. So, but imagine you've now got an eye injury. You're in the middle of nowhere. You can't see properly. Blood pouring down your face, whatever. And you've now got to get out of here. You've got to look after yourself and get yourself out of here. You know, it's not fun. So injury is always something. You have to minimise your risk, minimise your exposure. I see these people going out in the mountains and what have you, and they all want to do their. Just gonna put this on. They all want to do their amazing videos, hanging off the side of a cliff. And, you know, oh, there's this amazing lake and all this kind of stuff. And don't do that stuff. Minimise your exposure. Exposure is not cold. The exposure is your exposure to the environment. Yeah. That's why I put this up. Is it doing anything at the moment? No. But we're due to have rain middle of the day. Although looking at the cloud, I can't see much cloud. But it did say it might rain in the middle of the day. So I've put that up just in case. It took me 5 minutes to put it up. One line, taut line loop on the other end there, crank it up, job done. Little sticks through the holes just for the pegs and tie it up. So I have shelter should I need it, but it's better to put it up before you need it than when it's actually pouring hard with rain. So, yeah, okay, that's coming down good. But this is how I like to have a fire. I don't want big tall flames like some people think you've got to have big flames coming out of a fire all the time, and you don't. Trust me, there's a lot of heat in there. Yeah. That'll burn for a long time. But if you have a fire and you continue putting stuff on it to make flames, you're going to get through a lot of wood very fast. This is a slow fire. This will last for hours and hours and hours. Yeah. Right, I'm going to find myself another snack and do some more in a bit. Well, fire's coming along nicely. I didn't bring my tea with me today, so I will have to do my feet in front of the fire with my water bottle instead of tea. I don't have my teacup, so we'll have water instead. Oh, that's good. letting that die down in there a bit. It's getting rid of a lot of that big old carbon that was in there. There we go. Yeah. This is a good way to spend the day. It's about how you want to fire. You don't want to fire with big flames like this. It's only flared up now because I've just put a few of those little bits on. I can clear it off a lot of this low-hanging crap in the bottom of the trees here. That tends to be what I do. I'll come out to a site. If you could see this site before I came here, it was very dense. It was full of that old dead material. But if you camp in an area and you have a campfire going, you'll be surprised how quickly you can clean all this out. And, I have a big stack of firewood over there. I've just cut up a few more bits and put them in there. That's my winter stack, because I do come out here in winter, but it depends on the conditions. But I always like to make sure I've got a good stack of firewood over there, and there's enough firewood there in that pile. That's a day's worth of firewood probably right there. Yeah. For the size of fire that I have, that's probably a day's worth of firewood. So I like to make sure that I have some already cut. You'll notice I have pieces in the trees too. Yeah. All through this area, you'll see that I do this. This is how I do it. Because if it's up like this, if the snow's this deep and the logs are laying on the ground, A, they're wet, so you can't use them. If they're up like this, you can see them. That's why I do it this way. It's all down through there. There's another whole bunch. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's another 5 or 6 ones like that. I can see it probably this round. The big one down there is about yay round. But I'm saving that one just in case. You get out in the middle of somewhere like this and it suddenly turns cold, and it can around here. The weather can suddenly change. If it suddenly turns cold, you want to make sure you've got enough firewood to get a good fire going and keep you warm. Yeah. We get a cold front come through. I was at home yesterday and a cold front come through. Oh, it smokes, the wind suddenly gets up. And it's just like really strong horizontal winds, and they blow like crazy, but they only do it for about 10-15 minutes, if that, and then it's all gone. But if you're out here in -20 and that comes through, that wind chill could drop down to probably -40, and -40 wind chill, that's dangerous stuff right there. Yeah. I'm just looking through the forest. There's a shape down there that's really bugging me. Yeah. But it's been there for about 2 years. But every time I look at it, I see it as a big dark shape down through there. This is the thing, you get to know your forest. There's a dark shape there, there's a dark shape over there, there's another one over that way. And, what you're looking for is big dark shapes that move. Those are the ones you've got to watch out for. Yeah. Now where I am now, this time of the year there's not too many cows around. But they do have cattle. They do run cattle up through here, but not so much at the moment. Where I was the other day, what's called the Sheep River Valley, I was down in there. There's a lot of cows down in there at the moment, loads of them. And if you watch my previous video, you'll see that the cows down in there are jet black. They're the same colour as a black bear. So when you're walking through the forest and this big black thing walks out of a gap, literally right there, makes you jump. You know the cows are there, you're ready for them, you know what a cow looks like, you know what a bear looks like, but it's that big dark black shape suddenly moving into your field of view. Yeah, it wakes you up all right. But the only good thing is, if there's cows around, then the chances are there's no bears. Because the other day I was down in there, one of my videos, there was a bit of a stampede came up through there. There was a salt lick out in the forest, and there was 3 or 4 cows by the salt lick. And then suddenly there was a huge, I could hear it coming, and it was probably about 30 to 40 cows come stamping up through there. So I didn't want to be on that trail, so I kind of headed up into the forest just in case they kept going all the way through. and I did find some fresh bear crap out in there, so there may have been a bear in the area, which may have been what spooked them, and off they went. But a black bear is not going to take on a herd of cows. If there's a weak one or there's a dead one or whatever, yeah, the bear will take care of that. But if there's a herd of cows, trust me, one kick from one of those, and trust me, they can kick. One kick from those cows and that bear's as good as dead. So and the bear knows that. So they're not going to take on a herd. Yeah, bears are smart. They look for an easy meal. They don't want to have to fight for their meals. They want a nice easy meal. Yeah. So, yeah, that was quite the stampede. It was only about 30 or 40 of them, but let me tell you, that was quite the noise. Banging and crashing through the forest. You could actually feel it in the ground. So you think back in the days when out in the prairies there would have been stampedes of literally millions of bison. I mean, that must have been something else. That must have been absolutely something else to hear. Yeah. I'm not sure there's any people alive that have heard that sound. Yeah. Let me tell you, but I bet you that was quite something. I bet you the ground moved. Yeah. Right. I'm kind of neglecting this fire a little bit. I'm letting it burn down in there to get rid of some of the bigger bits. And then I'll stir it all around and see what we got left in there. The sun's got to get over there yet. And the sun, when I did the last bit of video, the sun was over there. Now it's there. Hasn't moved much. Yeah. Right. I'll do some more in a moment. Right, well, we've got the fire died right down there a bit. Just going to let it do its thing. It's still chucking off a lot of heat. I see people walk away from fires like this. Don't ever do that. If you put fuel on that, I guarantee you it'll just go again. They're still chucking off a lot of heat. I'm going to let that all turn into ash, and it will break down nicely. So most of all the big carbon in there is all gone now, so that's good. I'll let that break down some more, and then I will make sure it's soaked down and stirred right up. So always soak it, stir it, soak it, stir it. I got quite a bit of water there, so that's all going on there in a minute. And that is how you leave a campfire. Soaked, stirred, soaked, stirred. That's just had 2.5 gallons of water on it. You poke holes in the ground as well, just to let the water soak right into the ground there. And as you can see, there ain't much in there going to do anything. So that is an absolute swamp, and that's how you should leave it. Basically, my rule is, if I can't stand in it, like this, oh, look at that. That's how a campfire should be done. Just a wet, sloppy swamp. Yep. We got rain in the forecast, so that will also help. But also, it breaks all the carbon up like that. You'd be surprised, a lot of the wildlife actually like to eat the carbon. Yeah, you get any cows and that come up through here, they'll have all that away, I tell you. You get a couple of cows come up through here, there'll be no ash left in there, there'll be no carbon left in there by the time they finished. Yeah, they love that stuff. Right, my site is almost cleared up. Just got to tidy up my bench, put away all my bits and pieces. But, the firewood stash is stashed. I've added some bits to it. I always make sure that I add some wood to my pile. This is my winter need to get a fire going pile. I've stacked a few more bits up in the trees, and I'm just going to pack up these last few bits and I'm going to head out of here. Thank you very much for coming along. This was a great day sitting in the forest doing absolutely nothing other than looking after a campfire and unwinding. It's the best unwind you can possibly have. Right, thank you for coming along.